He let the alien girl shelter in his tent, but her real intentions shocked him. The night on HD 742C was never truly dark. The trees glowed faintly from the strange moss that grew along their trunks, and the air shimmered with drifting specks of bioluminescent pollen. Yet even with all that gentle light, the jungle felt heavy and secretive, like something ancient was watching. Aidan Butler sat beside a small fire, listening to the rain tapping against his shelter. His exploration tent stood a few meters away, half hidden beneath thick leaves he had arranged earlier to keep the worst of the rain off. He wrapped his hands around a metal thermos of hot coffee and exhaled slowly. Steam rose and disappeared. He had been alone on missions before. He had crossed empty deserts, frozen valleys, and even the toxic swamps of Titan III. But this planet felt alive in a way others did not. The leaves rustled, although there was no wind. The ground hummed beneath his boots, and the sounds, soft clicks, distant calls, whispers, never stopped. Aidan was a xenobiologist. His duty was to understand new life, not fear it. But tonight the air carried something he could not name. Then, it happened. The forest changed, the sounds hushed, the rain slowed, even the fire seemed to burn quieter. Aidan sat up straight, heart suddenly pounding. Without thinking, his hand hovered near his pulse pistol. Something was approaching, not crashing through the brush. Not stalking like a predator. Walking. Soft. Calm. Purposeful. Shapes moved between glowing trees. Shadows. Among shadows, until one figure stepped into the firelight. Aidan froze. It was a woman. Except, not human. Her skin was pale green, layered with soft glowing patterns like marble veined with moonlight. Her hair fell in luminous strands, almost silver. She wore a sleek black suit that clung to her body, shining wet from the rain. Each movement was graceful, almost too graceful. Her eyes met his. They were amber, bright and thoughtful. Like she was seeing more than just his face, maybe his thoughts too. Aidan realized he had stopped breathing. The alien woman looked at the flames, then back to him. "May I?" she asked softly. Her voice flowed like water over smooth stone. Clear, musical, calm. Aidan blinked in disbelief. "You speak English?" A faint smile curved her lips. "We learn languages before contact." He nodded slowly, trying to steady himself. "Right, that makes sense. I mean, yes, of course. Please sit." "The fire is warm." She moved closer and lowered herself beside the flames. The rain slid from her suit in steady streams, but she didn't seem uncomfortable. "My name is Aidan Butler," he said after a moment, remembering his training. "Terran Scientific Corps, explorer and xenobiologist." She turned her head slightly toward him. "I am Lixa." Her name fit her perfectly. Simple, mysterious, elegant. For several seconds, they only listened to the rain. "You aren't dressed for the weather," Aidan said, quietly. Lixa looked at her own body, as if only now noticing the rain. Then she lifted her gaze again. "Cold does not trouble me, though warmth," her fingers reached toward the fire, "is pleasant," Aidan swallowed. He tried to sound professional, but curiosity beat caution. "Lixa, why are you here? Why me?" Lixa did not look away. Instead, she leaned forward, eyes reflecting the flame like molten amber. "My people study rising civilizations. We observe from afar, and when the time is right, someone is sent to evaluate, to see whether your kind is ready to join the wider galaxy." Aidan's breath caught. "So you're here to judge humanity?" "Yes," she said, "but not by weapons or science. Those are simple. We test for something rarer." She reached out and lightly touched his hand. Her skin was warm, unexpectedly warm. "We test for connection." Aidan felt his heartbeat echo in his ears. "Why me?" he whispered. Lixa smiled, small, gentle, almost sad. "Because you look at the unknown with wonder, not fear. You seek to understand, not to control. That is rare, among humans, and among us." The rain softened. The fire crackled. Something fragile formed between them. Aidan didn't move away from her touch. "So this is an experiment?" he asked quietly. "It was supposed to be," Lixa said. But something changed. Her amber eyes glowed brighter, softer. "When I saw you, I did not see a subject. I saw a heartbeat calling out to mine. Aiden didn't know whether he moved first or she did. Their hands met. Their foreheads touched. The warmth between them grew, not physical, but something deeper, a feeling, a recognition, like two souls remembering each other from somewhere long before, outside. The jungle held its breath. But far above, in orbit around the planet, something stirred. A silent message traveled through unseen networks. A warning, a breach of protocol. A bond had formed where none should have. And somewhere in the cold halls of the Galactic Council, a retrieval order was already being prepared. The storm outside was nothing. The real storm was just beginning. The retrieval teams arrive. The morning did not come with sunshine. It came with alarms. Aiden woke to a sharp pulsing noise from his expedition scanner. The tent glowed faintly from Lixa's soft natural light. She was still beside him, her head resting gently against his shoulder, her breathing slow and calm. But the scanner did not calm. Beep. Beep, beep, beep. Aiden sat up fast. His heart hammered. He recognized that signal. Orbital activity. Something large had entered the atmosphere. Lixa's eyes opened instantly. No grogginess, just awareness. Her skin patterns flickered sharply. "They found us," she said. Her voice was steady, but Aiden could feel something new in it. Fear. Not for herself, but for him. Who? Aiden asked. Though he already knew. Lixa stood, her form fluid and controlled, like every motion was part of some graceful dance. "The Council Retrieval Division," she said quietly. "They come when an evaluation breaks protocol." Aiden felt cold. "So they know about us?" Lixa didn't answer with words. She only touched her chest, right over her heart. The meaning was clear. The bond between them was real. And someone, somewhere, had detected it. Aiden grabbed his pack, stuffing research logs, journals, and equipment inside. Lixa helped, moving without sound, without wasted movement. Her hands were calm, but her eyes, those glowing amber eyes, held storms. "We have maybe minutes before they land," she said. "Retrievers do not speak. They do not negotiate. They do not ask questions. What do they do?" Aiden asked. Lixa hesitated. It was answer enough. A sudden boom rolled through the jungle like thunder. The ground trembled. Birds, dozens of winged creatures, burst from the trees in frightened flocks. The retrieval ship had arrived. Aiden pushed open the tent flap. The humid air hit him hard. Over the treetops, a black triangular ship descended, silent except for the vibration in the ground. It didn't shine. It absorbed light. Lixa's skin glowed brighter now. Her markings shifted rapidly. Fear, resolve, defiance. Aiden had begun to learn her language of light. "We have to move," she said. They ran, through ferns that towered overhead, across glowing roots that pulsed like living veins, past pools of still water that reflected alien skies. Aiden's breath burned in his chest, but Lixa moved as if the forest welcomed her. She guided him, pulling him where branches were weakest, where ground was stable, where shadows hid well. "How many will they send?" Aiden asked. "One ship holds 12 retrievers," Lixa said. 12 is enough to end wars. Aiden felt his stomach twist. "What do they want to do to you?" Lixa did not look back. "To erase our bond," Aiden stumbled. "Erase it? How?" Lixa slowed just long enough to take his face in both hands. Her voice was gentle but firm. "My people learned long ago how to remove emotion. To clean the heart until it feels nothing." Aiden felt his chest tighten painfully. "That's not living." Her thumb brushed his cheek. "No, it is surviving. But survival without love is only half a life." Another explosion sounded behind them. Trees cracked. Something heavy landed. Metal footsteps. The sound was too precise to be organic. The retrievers were on the ground. Lixa pulled Aiden deeper into the jungle. The light around her flickered brighter. "We are close," she said. "Your research station." "The ridge is ahead," Aiden nodded. He had set up a small field station not far from camp, a place where samples were stored and communications equipment was stronger. If they reached it, they could send a signal, maybe to Earth, maybe to anyone who would help. But the retrievers were faster. One dropped from the trees, silver, smooth, emotionless face gleaming. Its eyes glowed a cold red. Aiden froze. Lixa didn't. She moved like a streak of living light, grabbing. Aiden's arm and pulling him down just as a blast of blue energy sliced through the air where his head had been. "Keep moving," she shouted. Aiden ran. His legs burned. His lungs screamed. But fear was fuel. The retrievers followed, silent and relentless. At last, they broke through the trees, and there it was, a small metal shelter half buried into a hillside. Antennas reaching upward like metal thorns. Aiden slapped his hand onto the access panel. The door slid open. "Inside!" They crashed through, and Aiden slammed the lock. Breathing hard, he moved to the console. "If I reroute power through the uplink," Lixa placed her hand on his. His heart steadied instantly. "You are not alone," she whispered. His eyes lifted to hers, warm, fierce, unbreakable. Then, boom, the door shook. A second hit. A third. The metal buckled. Aiden grabbed Lixa's hand. They stood together, breathing the same breath, hearts beating the same rhythm, souls intertwined. The door burst inward. Silver figures stepped through. Red eyes emotionless, Lixa stepped in front of Aiden, her skin ignited. With brilliant light, patterns moving like living fire. The retrievers hesitated, just 1 second, one single second, but it was enough, because outside, something answered her light, something vast, something ancient. The jungle glowed, and dozens, maybe hundreds, of pale shapes moved between the trees. More Etherians, not retrieval teams, not soldiers, observers. Lixa stared in shock. They came. Aiden squeezed her hand. "No," he said softly. "They came for you." And outside, the war that no one expected was about to begin. The bond that should not exist. The forest glowed like a living sea of light. The retrievers stood frozen in the doorway of the research station, their red eyes flickering with confusion. Retrievers did not feel, did not hesitate, but something in the air made even their programming falter. Outside, shapes moved through the glowing mist. Tall figures with skin of many colors, soft green, deep sapphire, shimmering gold. Their skin patterns pulsed like waves, reacting to Lixa's presence. They were Etherians like her, but not soldiers, observers, thinkers, silent watchers from her world. Aiden stared through the broken doorway, his breath held tight in his chest. He had seen alien creatures before, strange insects, towering plant beasts, but these Etherians had a different presence. They moved with elegance, like they were born from moonlight and memory. One stepped forward. He was taller than the others, skin a deep ocean blue with silver lines like starlight across his arms. His eyes glowed warm violet, not cold like the retrievers. "Lixa," he said, voice steady and echoing slightly. "You formed a bond." Lixa didn't move, didn't lower her guard. "Yes," she answered. The blue Etherian, Traxel, studied her, his skin patterns shifting in slow waves. "You were not the only one who felt the emptiness," he said quietly. "Others have watched your evaluation. Many of us hoped it would be you who succeeded." Aiden blinked. "Succeeded? At what?" Lixa's glowing patterns dimmed slightly. She turned to face Aiden. "My people have lived without deep emotion for thousands of years. Our ancestors believed that love, grief, and desire weakened judgment. So we learned to suppress them, to train ourselves to feel less." Aiden felt something heavy in his chest. "So you weren't testing if humans could accept emotion," he said, voice low. "You were testing if your people could." Lixa nodded slowly. "Yes, the Council fears emotion more than war. They believe connection leads to chaos. But some of us, like Traxel, believe that evolution without emotion is not growth. It is loss." A retriever stepped forward again, metal feet thudding against the floor. Its voice was flat, artificial, cold. "Evaluator Lixa, you have violated." "Directive 9, surrender for cleansing." Lixa flinched. Aiden stepped in front of her. "No," he said. His voice shook, but he did not step back. The retriever raised an arm, light building at its palm. Lixa grabbed Aiden's hand. Their bond flared. A sudden pulse of warm, golden light burst from their joined hands, washing through the room like a wave. The retrievers recoiled, their programming flickering. Traxel's eyes widened. The bond is already stabilized, he said softly. It is strong enough to influence energy patterns, to rewrite neural resonance. Aiden didn't understand all the words, but he understood the meaning. Their love was changing reality. He looked at Lixa. She looked back, eyes glowing, heart open, no fear left. The door behind the retrievers exploded inward. More retrievers, a full squad, 12 metal bodies. 12 emotionless machines. Enough to crush worlds. Traxel raised one hand. The other Ethereans stepped beside him. Their skin pulsed with rising emotional light, fear, hope, determination, emotions they had not allowed themselves to feel for centuries. The retrievers charged. The room erupted into chaos, but the fight was not like the battles of soldiers. It was quieter, strange. Like energy shifting instead of fists, Ethereans moved with flowing steps, not striking but redirecting. Their glowing skin pulsed faster, releasing waves of emotional resonance that distorted the retriever's sensors. Aiden ducked behind the console, pulling Lixa with him. "What do we do?" he asked, voice trembling. Lixa placed his hands over her heart. "Feel," she whispered. Aiden closed his eyes. He felt her heartbeat, her warmth, her fear, her hope, her love. Their bond flared again, stronger, brighter. A burst of golden light exploded outward. Retrievers staggered. Traxel stared in awe. The hybrid bond amplifies. "The child must already be growing." Aiden's eyes flew open. "The child?" Lixa exhaled slowly, her hands trembling only slightly now. "Yes, our bond created life." Aiden felt his breath catch. The world swayed. We already?" Lixa nodded, glowing softly. "Our child is strong. Strong enough to call others. Strong enough to awaken what was forgotten." Traxel stepped forward, voice calm despite the battle around them. "Then the Council will do more than send retrievers. They will send commanders. They will send fleets. They will try to erase what you created." Aiden rose slowly, his hand finding Lixa's again. "Then we don't run," he said. Lixa looked at him, surprised, moved. Her patterns flickered warm gold, the color of joy. "We fight," Aiden continued. "Not with weapons. With proof. With connection. With your people who want to feel again." Traxel nodded. "There are many. More than the Council believes." The remaining retrievers began to move again. Aiden stepped forward. Lixa stepped with him. Their bond glowed like sunrise. Traxel spoke only one word. "Then the revolution begins now. The child who speaks without words." The storm outside the research station had stopped, but a different storm now lived inside the walls. The retrievers were damaged, sparking, twitching, their red eyes flickering as they struggled to regain control. The Ethereans formed a protective circle, their glowing skin patterns pulsing together like a single heartbeat. Aiden stood beside Lixa, his hand still in hers. Their bond glowed between their fingers like a thread of living light. Traxel stepped forward, his deep blue skin shimmering. "We cannot stay here. More retrievers will arrive soon," Aiden nodded. He already knew that. The Council would not allow this situation to spread. Lixa gently pressed her hand to her abdomen. Her eyes softened, glowing with a warmth beyond words. Aiden followed her gaze, and felt it. A feeling like someone very small was pressing a hand against his chest from the inside. Not physically, emotionally, soul to soul. Aiden inhaled sharply. It's real," he whispered. Lixa smiled, soft and full of something ancient. "Yes, our child is speaking." Aiden placed his hand over hers. "What is it saying?" Lixa closed her eyes. Light rippled slowly across her skin. "It is not words. It is feeling. It is telling us it is here, and we are not alone." Aiden felt warmth spread through his chest, so strong it almost hurt. A love he had never known, pure, infinite, open, but the moment shattered. Boom! The station roof shook. A shadow passed overhead. Traxel's patterns flared red. Alarm. "That was no retriever ship," he said. Aiden looked out the cracked window and saw it. A massive vessel descending through the clouds. Sleek, silver, and marked with sharp, angular symbols. Lixa's face drained of color. That is a council cleansing vessel. Aiden swallowed hard. What does that mean? Lixa's voice trembled for the first time. They do not come to capture. They come to erase. The room fell silent. Aiden felt something break inside him, and then rebuild into something harder. No, he said. They can't just erase you. They can't erase our child. Lixa touched his cheek. They will try. They believe emotional bonds make us dangerous. Traxel stepped forward. They fear what they cannot control. Aiden turned to the console. His communications equipment was still active. Damaged but working. We can broadcast again, he said. Not just data emotion. If humans can feel what Etherians lost, and Etherians can feel what humans still have, we can change everything. Lixa's eyes widened. You want to use the bond as the signal? Aiden nodded slowly. Yes, our bond and the child's. Traxel looked stunned. That has never been attempted. The emotional resonance could reach every Etherian mind at once. Aiden spoke quietly. That's the point. If the council wants to erase love, then the answer is to share it faster than they can stop it. Before anyone could move, the station doors blew apart. A blast of white light filled the room. Lixa stumbled backward. Aiden caught her as the cold wind from the cleansing vessel swept inside. From the smoke stepped a figure. Not metal, not emotionless. An Etherian, tall. Regal, platinum-skinned, wearing a long silver mantle. Their eyes were pure white, glowing softly. The air around them felt heavy, old, powerful. Traxel's patterns flickered in shock. Council High Executor Saren. Aiden felt Lixa tense beside him. Saren's voice was calm. Too calm. Evaluator Lixa, you have violated the highest order. Your bond with this human endangers the foundation of Etherian society. Lixa stepped forward. My bond brought life, she said, voice strong. A child who can connect hearts across worlds. That is not danger. That is evolution. Saren's eyes flickered to Aiden. You misunderstand evolution. Emotion is chaos. Emotion creates war. Aiden met their gaze, unafraid. No, he said quietly. Lack of emotion does. Saren's expression didn't change, but something flickered in their eyes. Lixa spoke again. You came to erase us, but you are already too late. The bond has spread. Others feel again. They answered the call. Saren looked at the gathered Etherians. Their glowing skin patterns, fear, hope, longing, were undeniable. You would throw away the peace we preserved for 10,000 years? Saren asked softly. Traxel stepped forward beside Lixa and Aiden. No, he said. We would give that peace a heart again. Silence. Aiden reached for the console. Lixa placed her hand over his. Their bond flared. And then something new happened. The child's presence surged. Warmth flooded the room. Colors burst across every Etherian's skin. Retrievers stopped moving, their lights flickering. Overwhelmed. Even Saren froze, hand pressed to their chest, as if remembering something long buried. Slowly, painfully, a single tear formed in the corner of Saren's eye. Aiden looked to Lixa. Lixa looked to him. The child had spoken again, a message made of pure emotion. Love is not chaos. Love is balance. The cleansing vessel lights dimmed. The battle paused. Something had changed, not through force, through connection. The first tear in 10,000 years. The single tear on Saren's face hung suspended for a long moment. Etherians did not cry. Not for sickness, not for love, not for death. To shed a tear meant something ancient had awakened, something their people had locked away thousands of years ago. The room held its breath. Even the retrievers, half-powered down and flickering, stood still, caught between logic and something they could not process. Aiden felt Lixa's hand tighten around his. He looked at her. She looked back. Their child's presence pulsed warmly between them, like a tiny star shining just beneath Lixa's skin. Saren wiped the tear, slowly, almost afraid of it. What? Is this feeling? Saren whispered. Their voice had changed. no longer the emotionless tone of the council. There was confusion in it. Pain. Memory. Lixa stepped forward, steady, gentle. "It is the same feeling you chose to forget," she said softly. "The feeling that began our civilization, not the one that almost destroyed it." Saren's eyes flickered. The patterns on their skin shifted, sharp, jagged. Traxel spoke next, voice calm. "Our ancestors removed emotion because they feared suffering. But in doing so, they also erased joy, wonder, connection. We became quiet shadows of ourselves." Saren closed their eyes. Their patterns flashed faster, memory storming. "We watched empires burn because of love," they murmured. "We watched cities fall because grief drove leaders to madness. We watched brothers kill each other for those they claimed to care for." Aiden stepped forward now. "Not afraid. Not small. Humans have done that too," he said. "But we still choose to love. Because love can break us, but it also makes life worth living." Saren looked at him, truly looked, as though seeing a human for the first time, not as a subject, not as a variable, but as a person. Then the ground trembled. The cleansing vessel above them opened. A blinding white beam began, charging, aimed directly at the research station. Traxel cursed under his breath. "The ship is going to erase the entire region to contain the bond." Lixa grabbed Aiden's arm. "We must leave, now." But Aiden shook his head. "No running. Not again. We change this now." He turned to Saren. "If the council destroys us, emotion will fall silent again. But if you speak for us, if you acknowledge the bond, your people will listen." Saren hesitated. Outside, the cleansing beam grew brighter. The air shook with power. Lixa's voice trembled. "Saren, please." Saren looked at her, really seeing the younger Etherian who once admired them, studied under them, believed in them. "You are not asking me to defend a child," Saren whispered. "You are asking me to rewrite our species." Lixa nodded. "Yes." Saren closed their eyes. The cleansing beam fired. A pillar of white death hurtled downward. Lixa threw herself against Aiden. Traxel raised his arms in a hopeless shield. But the beam never reached them. It hit something. Invisible, something warm, something alive, a golden shield. Bloomed into existence around the research station, soft, gentle, unbreakable. Lixa gasped. "The child..." Aiden felt tears sting his eyes. "The child protected us." Traxel stared upward in awe. A being not yet born just stopped a planetary cleansing weapon. Saren fell to their knees. Emotion crashed across their skin, colors blooming like sunrise. For the first time in 10,000 years, a high executor cried, not one tear, many. The cleansing vessel shut down, power overridden by a signal no machine was built to resist, the signal of pure, living connection. Saren looked up, face wet, voice shaking. "Your child is not a threat. Your child is a bridge." Lixa knelt and placed a hand on Saren's shoulder. "Help us then," she whispered, "not to hide, but to show our people that love does not destroy us. It saves us." Saren stood slowly. The tear tracks on their cheeks glowed like silver stars. "I will call the council," they said. "Not to erase you, but to witness you." Aiden exhaled shakily. His heart beat wildly, not with fear now, but with hope. Lixa leaned into him, resting her head against his shoulder. Their skin patterns glowed together, soft, warm, alive. Traxel smiled, the first true smile his kind had made in centuries. Outside, the jungle lights grew brighter. The world itself felt like it was waking up, Aiden whispered. "Then this is the beginning." Lixa closed her eyes. "Yes, the beginning of us." The council that forgot how to breathe, the sky chamber of the Galactic Council, had never felt heavy before. It was built to feel weightless, walls made of living crystal, air filled with soft light, silence shaped to calm the mind. But today the chamber felt tight, too small, too bright, because every council member present was experiencing something they did not have names for: emotion. It flickered across their skin in faint colors, shy, nervous, confused, like newborn constellations. At the center of the chamber stood Lixa, Aiden, and their child, Avel, held gently in Lixa's arms. Her skin glowed softly, warm and golden, radiating emotional presence without effort. Even the air around her hummed with quiet feeling. The council members watched her with awe, not fear, not yet. Saren stood beside Aiden and Lixa, not as their judge, but as their witness, high executor no longer. Just Saren, a being learning how to feel again. Aiden felt sweat on his palms. His heartbeat echoed in his chest like drumfire. He had spoken before governments. He had defended research to entire scientific boards. But standing here in front of species older than Earth's pyramids, this was different. Lixa noticed his nerves. She brushed her hand lightly against his. Bond steadied him instantly. A simple touch, a whole universe of meaning. Their child cooed softly. Her. Emotions blooming into the room like sunlight through glass. Several council members gasped, skin flickering pale rose and violet. Placed a hand over their chest. As if remembering they had one, Saren stepped forward first. In our long history, Saren began, voice steady but filled with quiet awe, we believed emotion to be a weakness, a threat, a fracture in the order we worked so hard to preserve. The council listened, ancient, powerful, uncertain. We restricted ourselves, Saren continued. We became efficient, logical, predictable. Their voice broke faintly, but we also became empty. A ripple moved across the chamber, patterns of agreement, appearing on Etherian skin like gentle ripples on water. Saren gestured to Lixa and Aiden. These two have shown us something we erased, something beautiful. A connection not based on necessity, but choice. Not calculation, but care. Lixa stepped forward, her voice calm and warm. When I first met Aiden, I was following protocol, assignments, directives. I was meant to observe, to measure, to remain untouched. Her eyes softened. But I was touched, deeply, in a way I could not ignore. My heart, my mind, my entire being changed. And from that connection came new life, a child who carries the best of both our species. She looked down at Avel, the tiny glow, the soft coo. Her existence is not a mistake. She is a message. Aiden stepped forward next. I know what you fear. Humans have made mistakes with emotion. We have started wars. We have broken hearts. We have caused suffering. He paused. But emotion also made us create art, music, poetry, families, bravery, kindness, forgiveness. Emotion makes us try again, even when we fall. He met the council's gaze, not pleading, but inviting. You don't have to lose control. You just have to stop running. Silence filled the chamber, deep, living silence. Then the oldest Etherian counselor rose. Her skin was a soft, ancient silver. She carried millennia in her eyes. For 10,000 years, she said slowly, we believed that silence was safety, that stillness was peace, that emptiness was clarity. She stepped closer to Lixa, eyes resting on the child. But I remember, her voice trembled, a time before the silence, when we felt joy, laughter, wonder. A single tear formed. She didn't wipe it away. I remember love. A wave of color burst across the chamber. Lavender, gold, rose, fear, hope, longing, recognition. The council was waking. Not physically, emotionally, but awakening is not the same as acceptance. Sharp voice cut through the warmth. You speak of beauty, another counselor snapped, colors jagged on their skin. But emotion also brought disaster, chaos, war, the time of burning. Gasps filled the chamber. Traxel stepped forward, not aggressive, just certain. Yes, emotion can destroy. His patterns softened. But so can logic without mercy. He gestured gently to Avel. This child is not a weapon. She is a chance to learn balance, not silence, not chaos, but harmony. The counselor shook, conflicted. Then Avel lifted her tiny hand and sent out a wave. Not words, not commands, a simple feeling. Warmth. Like sitting near a fire during winter. Like being held when the world feels too large. Like remembering you were once loved. Every Etherean in the room shuddered. Some gasped. Some whispered. Some broke into tears. The counselor who had protested fell to their knees, overwhelmed. This feeling, it does not destroy, they whispered. No, Saren said softly. It heals. The oldest counselor stepped forward again. Her voice was steady now. We will not cleanse. We will not separate. We will learn. She bowed. Not to Aiden, not to Lixa, but to Avel, the first child of two worlds. Aiden felt his chest tighten. Lixa exhaled softly, relief washing over her like sunrise. Traxel smiled. Saren closed their eyes, allowing themselves their second tear. The chamber glowed, a galaxy that forgot how to feel. Was learning again. The day humanity looked up and was seen, Earth had always stared at the stars. But on the day the stars finally stared back, no one was ready. The first sign was the sky. Not lights. Not ships. Not an invasion. A feeling, a warmth, a sudden shared hush that fell across continents like a soft blanket. People paused in the middle of their days, on buses, in crowded markets, in silent bedrooms, in noisy schoolyards. Children looked up first, across the world. Karachi, Cairo, Lagos, London, São Paulo. Tokyo! Millions of children stopped what they were doing and smiled for no reason. Then, their parents felt it too. Calm, peace, a gentle heartbeat that wasn't their own. The news channels panicked. The governments demanded answers. Scientists scrambled for data, but there were no warnings. No threats, no fear, just a feeling. A single message felt in the chest, not heard in the ears. You're not alone, high above Earth. In orbit, like a silver leaf on the wind, hovered the Etherean diplomatic vessel, Serenity's Promise. Inside it, Lixa stood beside a viewing window, holding Avel close. Aiden stood next to her, his hand resting lightly on their daughter's back. Earth rotated slowly beneath them. Blue. White, alive. You're nervous, Lixa said gently. Aiden exhaled. Shaky. It's one thing to speak to the council, he said, voice quiet. It's another to speak to 8 billion humans who might think we're here to conquer them. Lixa leaned her head on his shoulder, her skin glowing with soft golden comfort patterns. You connected a galaxy, she murmured. You can handle home. Avel babbled happily and slapped her tiny hand against the glass, sending out a soft wave of warmth toward Earth. Aiden laughed. Okay, that helps. Traxel stood behind them, wearing formal diplomatic robes that shimmered softly with emotion-responsive patterns. Saren stood beside him, changed. Not cold anymore, not hollow. Their skin shimmered with calm ocean blue patterns. Peace. Everything about them now said, I remember who I am. On Earth. The United Planetary Council emergency broadcast tone sounded. Every screen turned on, phones. Televisions, stadium displays, city projectors. No one touched a button. The message simply appeared, and then Aiden's face appeared, not in uniform. Not in armor, not rehearsed, just Aiden, a human. Hair slightly messy, eyes tired but gentle. Heart full. Hello, Earth, he began, voice steady. People around the world stopped breathing. My name is Aiden Butler. I'm a xenobiologist with the Terran Science Corps. 6 months ago, I was sent to explore a newly discovered world. He paused, breathing carefully. And I met someone. Lixa stepped into the frame. Gasps echoed across the planet as billions saw an Etherean for the first time. Her pale green skin glowed softly. Her amber eyes held no threat, only warmth. My name is Lixa, she said, and I am an Etherean. My people live among the stars far beyond your maps. We have watched humanity for many years. Her voice was music, soft, steady. We did not come to conquer you. We did not come to rule you. We came to understand you. Aiden took her hand, and somewhere in that process, we fell in love. Humanity froze, not from panic, but from the shock of something so simple, so real, so ordinary, even in its impossibility. Then Lixa lifted Avel into view. The child's soft glow filled the frame. People around the world felt something warm bloom in them. Hope. My name, Aiden said softly, is Aiden Butler. I am human. Lixa is Etherian. And this is our daughter, Avel. Proof that two worlds can meet and not destroy each other. Lixa's voice became stronger, like a steady stream flowing over smooth stone. Our species once feared emotion. We erased it. We forgot how to love. But humans, you, never stopped loving, even when it hurt. Even when it broke you. Her eyes shone. And that is why we chose to come now. Aiden looked directly into the camera. We're not saying humanity is perfect. We're not perfect either. But together, we can learn, grow, heal. Traxel stepped into view next, formal, calm. The Etherian Council recognizes Earth as an equal world. Humanity will be invited into the Galactic Assembly, not as subjects, but as partners. Saren spoke last, voice deep, steady, full of new life. We come not to teach you, not to guide you, but to walk beside you. Avel reached her hand toward the camera, and a wave of warmth washed over Earth. People cried in city streets. Old men remembered love they had lost. Mothers felt hope for their children. Strangers looked at strangers and saw people, not threats, and for the first time in recorded history, a whole planet felt the same emotion at the same time, not fear, not anger, connection. Single heartbeat echoed across the world, shared, alive, humanity. Looked up at the sky, and the sky looked back and smiled. If you enjoyed this video, like this video, subscribing, and clicking the bell icon to stay updated with fresh content every day.